Hello. Good morning, all. Can I invite the heads of delegations, please, if you will, be seated on this side from the left, this way, please, so that we are not obstructed as you come, please. The heads of delegations, please, if you will, be seated on this side for us, please, beginning from the far left, please. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few minutes, I will ask you to stand for the arrival of Her Excellency, the Governor General, Dame Marcella Libers. So in a few minutes, I will ask you to stand. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite you to stand for the arrival of the Governor General of St. Christopher and Nevis, Her Excellency Dame Marcella Libert, GMCG JP. Shall you remain standing as we invite Mrs. Karen Brown, who will render by trumpet the national anthem of St. Christopher and Nevis. Wow. As a member of this federation, a citizen of this federation, my heart is full. Thank you so very much, Mrs. Brown. May I invite you to remain standing as we invite to the podium to lead us in the invocation, one of this year's, that is 2025, Triple CU scholarship winners, Mr. Tariq Hercules.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we come before you this day with hearts full of gratitude. We thank you for the privilege of being able to gather here for the 18th annual OECS Credit Union Summit. Thank you, Lord, for health, strength, and your hand of protection that has brought us here. As we begin this time together, we humbly ask for your divine guidance and blessing over every aspect of this summit. May all that we do be done with a spirit of excellence, and may our discussions and decisions be shaped by wisdom from above. Father, grant us the insight and clarity to develop solutions that uplift the nations we represent. Let us, like Nehemiah, have a strategic focus and unshakable determination. When we face challenges, remind us we are doing a good work and we cannot come down. As your word declares in Habakkuk 2, verses 2 to 3, write the vision and make it plain, for it shall surely come to pass. Lord, may this summit not only produce dialogue, but also a clear vision and action plan that will transform our movement for generations to come. In Jesus' name we pray. We will now say the credit union prayer. It will come up on the screens. All right. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love, for it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Thank you so very much. You may be seated. Your Excellency, Dame Marcella Liebert, GC, MG, JP, Governor General of St. Christopher and Nevis. Mr. Timothy Antoine, Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Ms. Andrea Messam, President of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions. Mr. Farron Lawrence, President of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Cooperative League, and other directors of the board of the St. Kitts and Nevis League. Ms. Denise Garfield, General Manager of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions. Mr. Andre Goindu, Managing Director and CEO of CUNA Caribbean Insurance Limited, our title sponsor for this year. Mr. Omar Birch Smith, Manager of UTC Regional Collective Investment Scheme. Ms. Nolan Gabriel Boye, Deputy General Manager, First Citizen Investment Services. Mr. Lawrence Jean, Manager, Bank of St. Lucia Investment Banking Services. Mr. Lincoln Wildgoob, CEO of Mimics. Mrs. Kejelin Rollins Elliott, Registrar of Credit Unions, St. Kitts. Mrs. Erla Clark Allen, Director of the Department of Cooperatives, St. Kitts. Ms. Jamila Warner, General Manager, Police Cooperative Credit Union. Ms. Dawn Williams, CEO, First Federal Cooperative Credit Union. Ms. Londi Esdale, Acting General Manager of the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union. Mr. Alberto Roncajolo, Director of Financial Institutions, Corpe, Latin America and the Caribbean. Other specially invited guests, members of the Summit Execution Team, delegates, members of the media, to you I say welcome. And if you are visiting our beautiful federation, we say welcome to paradise. You know, at the end of one's life, we're expected to go to paradise. Why not have paradise here on earth? and then paradise to come. Thank you so very much for being here. And I know that our engagements during the week will be special. This summit is intended for us to bring our collective selves together under the theme, one vision, one future, OECS credit unions growing together. With those few words, I'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Farron Lawrence, who served as the president of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Cooperative League, and he will bring remarks to the conference. Mr. Lawrence, please.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, though the protocol has been so well established, I need to personally recognize our Governor General, Her Excellency Marcella Liebert, who is not only a credit union member, but someone who supports our movement to the bone. And I want you to give her a round of applause in that regard. Good morning, local and regional colleagues. I feel like I'm in a place of joy, having seen most of you, or many of you, very recently at our convention. And so it's always good to be back among friends. Colleagues, it is both my honor and privilege to welcome you to paradise, as Cleatley so well indicated, our beloved Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Nestled in the heart of the Caribbean Sea, these two emerald gems, though the smallest sovereign state in the Western Hemisphere, continue to stand tall in history, heritage, and hospitality. From the majestic peak of Mount Lyamega in St. Kitts to the tranquil beaches of Pinnes in Nevis, the islands offer a breathtaking canvas of natural beauty. St. Kitts, with its rolling sugarcane fields and preserved colonial forts like the UNESCO World Heritage Site at Brimstone Hill, tells stories of resilience and legacy. Nevis, with its unspoiled charm, lush rainforests, and soothing hot spring, exudes a quiet elegance that captivates every visitor. But beyond the scenery, what truly makes our federation unique is its spirit, which is reflected through our people. Warm, welcoming, and proud of our heritage, Kittitians and Nevisians embody a hospitality that ensures every guest feels like family. Here, culture and community are woven into daily life. It is against this backdrop, therefore, that we welcome you all to the 18th staging of the OECS Credit Union Summit. Summits, by their nature, are designed to do more than convene. They are meant to catalyze, to provide thought, to provoke thought, to inspire collaboration and drive action. This year's summit is no exception. Over the next few days, we will unite with purpose to, one, discuss the pressing issues that shape our sector's future, two, share knowledge across borders and disciplines, and three, collaborate on solutions that are bold, inclusive, and actionable. And we do this under the theme that is not mere rhetoric, but a strategic call to action, that theme being one vision, one future, OECS credit unions growing together. a call for us to align our collective efforts, to harmonize our systems, and amplify our impact. For when we speak with one voice, the world cannot help but listen. Across the OECS, credit unions are no longer fringe actors in the financial landscape. We are now central pillars of financial inclusion, economic resilience, and community empowerment. But with this influence comes responsibility. The responsibility to modernize our operations, to integrate our systems, and to lead our people with vision and courage. This summit gives us the opportunity to ask and to answer the hard questions that will help shape our destiny. What does one vision truly look like in practice? Are we truly ready to pursue a regional service bank that reflects our scale and our ambition? How do we balance innovation with regulation, especially in areas like credit union bureaus, cross-border payments, and electronic check clearing? Our program has been carefully crafted to ensure that every voice is heard and every perspective considered and respected. From keynote addresses by regional leaders and financial experts to panel discussion that tackles strategic pivots and regulatory reform, we have created a platform for meaningful exchange and robust dialogue. The breakout sessions will take us beyond theory, allowing us to drill down into functional realities. Whether you are a CEO, a compliance officer, a credit manager, or a marketing lead, there is a space for you here to contribute, to learn, and to lead. Beyond the formal agenda, our networking opportunities are equally strategic. The evening events are not simply social. They are designed to strengthen bonds of trust, forge partnerships, and remind us that our future will not be built on isolation, but in collaboration. Let me emphasize, we are not here to admire problems, we are here to solve them. That is why this summit will not end in abstract discussions, but in the development of concrete action plans, roadmaps to guide our next steps in regulatory harmonization, digital integration, and cooperative growth across our entire region. To our sponsors and partners, your support is not only financial, it is visionary. By standing with us, you are helping to shape the future of cooperative finance in the Eastern Caribbean. We want to say thank you. As we embark on this summit, let us remember, one vision, one future is not a slogan, nor even a destination. It is a journey that requires courage, clarity, and above all, collaboration. If we are bold in our thinking, united in our purpose, and relentless in our pursuits of excellence, then we will not only grow credit unions, we will grow communities, we will grow economies, and we will grow futures. I look forward to the rich and rewarding discussions that lie ahead and to the collective progress we will make here together during this, our 18th OECS Credit Union Summit. And I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Farron. I could not have said it any better. If he was maestro, not the Calypsonian, the player of keyboard, then he would have touched all of those notes that will make our hearts gladden to the point that we are inclined to dance. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize the presence of the Honorable Samuel Duggins, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Marine Resources, Entrepreneurship, and Cooperatives, Sports, and the Creative Economy. Welcome to you, sir. I hope that your heart too will be gladdened today. Ladies and gentlemen, delegates all, it is now my pleasure to invite Mr. Andre Goindu, the Managing Director and CEO of CUNA Caribbean, who acts as the title sponsor for this year's summit. It's our pleasure to invite him to the podium. Sir.
Your Excellency, Dame Marcella Liebert, GCMP, JP, Governor General of St. Christopher and Nevis, Honorable Samuel Duggins, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Marine Resources and Cooperatives, Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Sports and the Creative Economy, Entertainment and the Arts, Mr. Timothy Antwine, Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Ms. Andrea Messam, President of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, Mr. Farron Lawrence, President of the St. Kitts and Nevis National Cooperative Credit Union League, and other directors of the League Board, Ms. Denise Garfield, General Manager of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, sponsors, other specially invited guests, members of the summit execution team, delegates, members of the media, good morning. Good morning. It is truly an honor and pleasure to join you here in the beautiful St. Kitts and Nevis for this very important gathering. As partners on this journey, we recognize the power of credit unions to transform communities, empower individuals, and strengthen economies across our region. This year's conference comes at a particularly meaningful time. As many of you know, the United Nations has declared 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives. This is not just a symbolic designation. It is a global recognition of the incredible impact that cooperative principles bring to the lives of our citizens. Credit unions embody these principles every single day. People helping people, working together for shared prosperity, and ensuring that economic success never leaves behind the most vulnerable. The Caribbean credit union movement has always understood this. Across our islands, credit unions have built bridges of trust, provided access to financial services where few others would, and nurtured a spirit of ownership and empowerment that is truly unique. As a partner organization, at CUNA Caribbean, we are proud to stand with you as you embrace the opportunities ahead, innovating, collaborating, and expanding the reach and relevance of credit unions for future generations. So, as we open this conference, let us be reminded 2025 is not just a year of recognition. It is a call to action to deepen our partnerships, to strengthen our cooperative networks, and to continue driving sustainable change across the Caribbean. In closing, I would like to wish you a productive, inspiring, and impactful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goindu. The interesting thing about the speakers for this morning thus far is that they've all captured the essence of what we are trying to achieve during the next few days. It is not only about just meeting here and having a good time, but rather the fulsome bringing together of credit unions. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to invite via Zoom the Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Jew. While away on government and national business, he has seen fit to take the time out to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, by applause, could you welcome our Prime Minister of the Federation, Dr. Jew.
Hi, good morning. I'm hoping that you can hear me. Let me say good morning to the host, and I want to thank you very much for your kind introduction and to recognize all those who are in the room at this particular time. At this 18th annual OECS Credit Union meeting, being held in St. Kitts and Nevis at this time, I really apologize for not being able to be physically present with you all. As you know, I'm at the United Nations now, where I am to deliver our national address at the National Assembly. This is an annual event. It is the most high-profile multilateral meeting, and as much as possible, heads of government seek to be at this meeting. So I once again thank you for the opportunity to join, albeit by the use of technology. So good morning again to all. Therefore, let me express my sincere regret, as I've said before, for not being able to be there. It was my intention to join you in person, but as I've said, I'm here in New York. The 18th annual OECS Credit Union meeting is a convergence of minds anchored in the shared values of cooperation, mutual upliftment, and regional development. Under the theme, One Vision, One Future, OECS Credit Unions Growing Together. This year's convening invites us all to reaffirm our collective commitment to a financial model that puts people before profit. The credit union movement in the OECS and indeed across the wider Caribbean has long been a cornerstone of our people's economic empowerment. In villages, towns, and cities across our islands, credit unions have stepped in where traditional financial institutions have hesitated. They have provided the struggling with opportunity and the dreamers with the means to build. And through it all, they have remained steadfast in their mission, which is to serve the people and to serve the region. This is why gatherings such as this are so important. They provide the space for reflection and recalibration and for renewed vision. They remind us that as small island developing states, we are stronger when we collaborate. Let me, of course, ask this meeting to reflect on the challenges that our region is facing. Our region is facing a public crisis, a crisis of the post-COVID economy, a crisis of climate change, a crisis of geopolitical shifts, a crisis of imported inflation, a crisis of regional issues as far as what's happening in Haiti and other parts of the region. This polycrisis needs all of us to confront it. With the issue of climate change that's affecting us so significantly, whether it be in irregular rainfall, whether it be with respect to our food security and the impact that climate change has had on agriculture, the impact on tourism in terms of increasing strength of hurricanes, sea level rise, which is affecting our beaches, and of course, the sargassum crisis, which we see every day on our beautiful beaches. Therefore, in this new era of challenges and the polycrisis that we face, I want to therefore call on the credit union, which has responded to past challenges and overcame them, to deal with these challenges and help the region to overcome. Therefore, let me close by saluting all those who continue to lead, build, and protect this powerful movement. You are doing the work of transformation and of nation building. Thank you once again for the opportunity to speak with you today, albeit through this media. I therefore wish you a successful and productive conference, and I look forward to the outcomes that will emerge from your important deliberations, for I'm sure they will respond to our challenges as a region. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Dr. Terence Chu, Prime Minister of this beautiful federation. Thank you so very much, sir. We appreciate the time that you have taken out of your busy schedule to present to us this morning. Thank you so very much. Delegates, imagine with me, if you will, an onion that is cut in two. You have it? Excellent. And we are going to go to the innermost core of that onion. You have it. You see, the innermost core of that onion is represented in this room. It is the members of the credit union, all, that make up this innermost core of that onion. If you will, look outward for just a second, fleeting second. There is another layer, and that layer is represented by the many leagues across the region. So each league covers that inner core of the credit union. But now, imagine further, if you will, that there is another layer. And that layer, within the context of the Caribbean Credit Union, that layer is responsible for regional advocacy, for the harmonization of policies, for technical assistance, and representing the Caribbean voice internationally. Might I share a secret with you? The person that heads that body is none other than President Andrea Mesa. Delegates, help me to welcome your president, Ms. Andrea Mesa, who serves as the president of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Union, to address us this morning. President Messam, please.
Mr. Masters of Ceremony, Ivo Phillips, I thank you for having already established the very detailed protocol, but please allow me to specially welcome a few persons. Of course, I want to begin with Your Excellency, Dame Marcella Liebert, GCMG, JP, Governor General of St. Christopher and Nevis, who we've had the pleasure of meeting sometime last month. And I also want to add, and I'll ask this august body to give her a round of applause as the person who sits the highest level in this country to make herself available for this function. I want to recognize the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. He could simply have said, I am busy, and not take the time to address us. Can we give him a round of applause as well? Honorable Samal Dawkins, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Marine Resources and Cooperatives, Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Sports and the Creative Economy, Entertainment and the Arts. What a basket of portfolio. I expected to see you flanked by 1 million people because there's so much work to be done in that portfolio. Welcome, sir. Mr. Timothy N.J. Antoine, Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. I want to also welcome him. Members of the Board of Directors of CCCU. I know there are a few of them here. I want to acknowledge them. Mr. Andre Goindu, Managing Director and CEO of Kuna Caribbean Insurance Limited, and Mr. Faron Lawrence, President of St. Kitts Nevis National Cooperative Credit Union League, Ms. Denise Garfield, General Manager, Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions, all you lovely sponsors, amazing sponsors, the registrar, other policymakers and lawmakers, distinguished OECS credit union delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Beautiful Caribbean people. I did not like that sound. There is a sound that I want to hear when I say good morning. Good morning. Ah, I heard it. I want to begin by giving God thanks and praise to be able to address you this morning. I do not take it for granted. And indeed, it is with much Caribbean pride and joy that I extend warm greetings to you on behalf of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions on this 18th staging of the OECS Credit Union Summit hosted in this beautiful federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And what a beautiful federation it is. You can give yourselves a round of applause. Now, I noticed on the program that beside my name, it said brief remarks. It did not say that beside anybody else's name. And I think that I was being given a hint. So I'm going to be brief as I possibly can. Now, each of the preceding 17 years, this summit has provided an invaluable opportunity for us to gather as one people of the sub-region, one family with a shared vision that is rooted in cooperation and with the collective mindset to do all that we can to create a more prosperous world for those we serve. Do I have an amen in the house? This year's theme, One Vision, One Future, OECS credit unions growing together, speaks directly to the heart of who we are as a movement. And it reminds us that while individual progress is significant, it is our shared growth, driven by collaboration and harmonization across all our territories, that secures the strength and sustainability of the credit union sector in this polycrisis. And you heard it described in detail by our Prime Minister earlier. Now, the credit union sector in our sub-region continues to shine as a beacon of financial resilience and inclusivity. And I want to share with you some statistics. At the end of 2024, we recorded remarkable achievement with membership standing of over 502,000 persons, members. Can we give ourselves a round of applause? Our savings have surpassed the 2.13 billion mark. Yes, worthy. Loans stood at 1.81 billion and total assets stood at 2.54 billion. All achieved through the dedicated efforts of our 1,553 employees across 50 credit unions. Member penetration has remained exceptionally high, averaging 80%, which underscores the deep trust of our people that they place in credit unions as their preferred financial institution. And now 80% is not an easy feat. It is not even, it's not replicated, I would say very quietly, across other areas and other regions. We also take note that within the Eastern Caribbean, we have 9 systemically important credit unions, which is a prototype and a clear demonstration of the indispensable role of credit unions in ensuring financial stability and community development. Our work in advocacy continues to bear fruit. And since 2019, the CCCU has maintained a memorandum of understanding with the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, which has given the credit union a voice, a rightful place at the regional policy-making table. Through this cooperation, we have worked together on pioneering initiatives such as supporting the ATM transition, facilitating direct cash purchases from the central bank, delivering valuation training to strengthen financial stewardship, and developing an optimal regulatory framework, among others. These initiatives not only strengthen our institutions, but also provide assurance to our members that their credit unions remain strong, remain relevant, and responsive to their needs in an ever-changing financial landscape. As we open this 18th summit, let us continue to hold fast to the tenets that defines us as a movement, Let us hold fast to the spirit of collaboration, innovation, integrity, servanthood, fairness, and inclusivity. May we never allow any prevailing thought that threatens to remove or to undermine these pillars of our movement to prevail. Let us leave this gathering unified and renewed, ready to drive our shared vision of stronger, safer, and more member-focused credit unions across the OECS. So on behalf of the CCCU board, management, and staff, I extend profound gratitude to the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, to the SKN National Cooperative League, our partners, and all delegates for making this summit a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, together we carry forward the proud legacy of cooperation. Together we share one vision, one future. Together we continue to grow stronger. I want to thank you, and may this 18th OECS Credit Union Summit be the most fruitful ever, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, President Messam. Again, all of our speakers are on point. You know, when in church, everybody is saying the same thing, you say, okay, good, there is a movement of the Holy Spirit that is bringing everybody's thought together. If we have any believers in the house, I think we can say amen, because that is what is happening here. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will invite the head of delegations from each of our member countries to bring brief remarks. Now, there's a tendency at the CCCU level that every member wants to outdo the other, but please, this is not a contest today. Brief. 1 minute. And if by virtue of your not being able to do that, all right, 2 minutes then. And we will begin with, in this order, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Lucia, and bringing up the rear, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This will be, well, I will not come back until each island has presented. Please.
A very pleasant good morning. All right, awesome. So he set the pace there, right? He did tell us 2 minutes, by the way. But with all due respect, accolades and honor to all of the distinguished guests, please allow me to adopt the very well laid out and established procedure so I can stay in that 2 minutes. For those of you gathered here today who have not yet had the privilege of meeting, whether by virtual meetings or in person, please allow me to introduce myself to you. I am Vanessa Connor. I am the founder and general manager of Liberty Cooperative Credit Union in the beautiful island of Anguilla. And it is with great pride that I address you today, and I am joined by members of our board of directors, our credit committee, managers, and our success team, representing our largest delegation to date to any conference. I'm going to ask them to stand. All 9 of us representing the island of Anguilla here today. And if you all know the history of Anguilla with St. Kitts and Nevis, we have been introduced by everybody as saying, welcome to paradise in Anguilla. We used to hear, welcome to Sugar City. While credit unions have a long-standing history in our region, Anguilla did not have an active conversation or contribution to the movement until 2017 when Liberty was established. And my presence here today represents not only our single credit union, but also the island of Anguilla, even though we are one credit union there. We are indeed honored to be among all of you talented credit union professionals, and we are dedicated to promoting the credit union mission throughout the region together with you all. While Liberty is by no means the largest credit union and Anguilla is by no means the largest island, we compensate for our size with our passion, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to our community. As I often say when we are at these forums, we are small, but we are we make a significant difference through our embrace of technology. And in 2025, we were privileged to launch a branded financial literacy program in Anguilla in collaboration with our Ministry of Education through all the primary schools. And we are making a real difference in the lives of our youth and their families. As it pertains to technology, we also introduce all of our partners to all of the partnerships we have been able to establish ourselves, including being able to bring cross-border services directly to our membership and other innovations in technology. Our impact is measured not by the size of our assets, but by the positive change that we are bringing to every member we serve. We feel that we are a powerful reminder of the core values of the credit union movement, which is to serve, uplift, and empower. That is what we are doing with the families that we serve in Anguilla. And we have been privileged to penetrate 1/3 of the population in Anguilla. We are now over 5,000 in membership, and our population is 14,000 plus. Now, that has not been built by just our efforts alone. That success is built on the shoulders of the giants in the region and globally. We are supported by several credit unions in the region, which we are deeply grateful for, and I see several of you in the room. And we also get support from the global movement through several associations with the CCCU. And Madam Denise, I'm very grateful for all of the technical support that you and your team deliver. Let us draw inspiration from each other as together we work and applaud all that the host league and the CCCU has done in promoting this and other conferences throughout the region to make an even greater impact. This is the year of cooperatives. Let us continue with the thrust of one vision and one voice as we remain unified and continue to grow together. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I acknowledge the protocols already established. I am Dorothea Blackman-Brown, CEO of the Antigua and Barbuda Cooperative League, and I bring warm greetings from the gem of the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda, the land of 365 white sandy beaches, one for every day of the year. On behalf of the Antiguan and Barbudan Credit Union Movement, I extend well wishes from a sector that is also small but mighty. With membership at nearly half of our population, credit unions in Antigua and Barbuda are not just growing, they're the heartbeat of our community. And that's why this year's theme, One Vision, One Future, OECS credit unions growing together resonates so strongly. Together, we're building something bigger than any one island. We're building a sub-regional credit union movement that empowers our people and strengthens our future. So, from our 365 beaches to this 18th OECS Credit Union Summit in the beautiful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda says, onward and upward. Let's keep making credit unions the best financial home for our people. Thank you, and don't forget, if you haven't yet been to Antigua and Barbuda, we have 365 very good reasons to fix that.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour tout le monde. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, protocol has already been established. I am Gerald Frigis, Director of the Dominica Cooperative League. And this is both a humble honor and privilege to stand here before you and represent the delegation of Dominica. I would like my delegation to please stand. 23 strong. Thank you. Under the theme, One Vision, One Future, OECS Credit Union Growing Together, I bring greetings from the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Nature Isle, home of booyah music, known for 365 rivers, not beaches, but rivers. So if you want to get wet, you know where to come. Come to Dominica. And just to the world, and host to the World Creole Music Festival, where rhythm, language, identity come together on an unforgettable stage. That's in the month of October. So I welcome all you guys to Dominica to come have fun. That same rhythm and resilience power our credit union story. Dominica is widely recognized for having the highest credit union membership per capita in the world. Prove that our cooperation is not just strategy for us, it is part of our way, in a sense. As we gathered for the summit, our task is not merely technical, it is transformational. Together, we will deepen financial inclusion, strengthen governance, harness digital innovation, and build climate social resilience that truly protects our members. Growing together means aligning standards, sharing what works, and supporting one another so that no member and no island is left behind. Just as our rivers converge and gain strength as they flow, our movement becomes powerful when ideas connect, partnerships are formed, and trust is built. Let us ask bold questions, exchange practical solutions, and live with a common playbook to bring back our communities to one vision, one future. On behalf of the 23-member Dominica delegation, it is indeed my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each of you. We look forward to encouraging sessions, enriching network opportunities, and renewing the cooperative spirit that unites our region. Thank you, and may the summit establish a strong shared rhythm for our future as we grow together with one vision and one purpose. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow cooperators, credit union leaders, and friends, and especially Team Grenada. It is indeed a privilege and a great honor to bring you warm greetings on behalf of the President, the Board of Directors, management and staff of the Grenada Cooperative League Limited. I am Lyden Lewis, the General Manager. And it's indeed the entire credit union movement of Grenada. I extend heartfelt congratulations to the organizers of this, the 18th OECS Credit Union Summit, and deep appreciation to our gracious host here in the beautiful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. This annual summit is always a moment of anticipation, a time when we as cooperators gather to share knowledge, strengthen relationship, and renew our commitment to the vision that binds us together. May our days here be filled with fruitful dialogue, meaningful exchanges, and the kind of collaboration that strengthens not only our institution, but also the lives of the people we serve. From the vantage point of Grenada, we recognize that the strength of our movement lies not in working alone, but in the pooling of resources, our wisdom, and our commitment, and the cooperative values that defines us. Together, we have weathered economic storms, navigated social changes, and embraced innovation in a rapidly evolving financial landscape. And together, we must continue to adapt and grow, ensuring that our credit union remains the trusted institutions our members need them to be. As we embark on the discussions and activities of the summit, let us be inspired by the words, or a couple of the words of our team that says, one vision, one future, that calls us to think beyond borders, beyond individual institutions, and to see ourselves as one movement united in purpose. On behalf of Team Grenada, where are you? Yeah, thank you. I wish to reaffirm our commitment to this collective journey. We are honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with our brothers and sisters of the OECS in advancing this noble movement. Let this summit renew our spirit, strengthen our bonds, and chart a course towards a brighter, more united purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, and may this, the 18th OECS Credit Union Summit, be the most memorable and successful one yet. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to adopt the protocol which has already been established. My name, Shane Felicia. I'm the General Manager of the St. Lucia Cooperative Credit Union League. It brings me profound pleasure to bring you warm greetings from the only island named after a woman. Mother of two Nobel laureates, 2 Peters, and carrying 2 Olympic medals. We the St. Lucian contingent, comprising 40 strong representatives of our credit union sector, and at this point, I would like us to all stand up. Stand in unity and congratulate the St. Kitts Nevis National Cooperative League Limited on hosting the 18th OECS Summit under the theme, one vision, one future. OECS credit unions growing together. 18 is usually the onset of maturity in an adult. And I believe it is also the coming of age of our union of OECS credit unions. The technological and regulatory changes are now a constant feature of our environment. And we credit unions have learned to adapt, survive, and prosper. From my perch within the OECS Managers Group, I am proud to say that our league representatives truly embody the theme, One OECS. From Anguilla and Montserrat in the north to Grenada in the south, we stand united to promote an integrated credit union movement. Let us continue in that stead, recognizing that united we are strong, and that the stability of our future is based on unity and collective approach to problem solving. I thank you all for allowing us to be here and hope that this conference is rewarding to us all. Thank you.
Protocol having been established. Good morning to everyone. My name is Paul Maxwell, and I am the new general manager of the St. Patrick's Cooperative Credit Union in Montserrat. I bring you warm greetings from the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. It is my honor to be here at this summit. We certainly would like to salute the government and the people of St. Kitts for hosting the summit, and I extend heartfelt appreciation to the conference organizers, the OECS Secretariat, and all partners who have made this event possible. The summit theme, as everyone has said, captures both the challenges and opportunities before us in the cooperative financial movement. In sessions that are planned, such as digital transformation, governance, risk management, investment strategies, and increasing our community impact, we are called to adapt, innovate, and lead in ways that will preserve our relevance. I believe this morning that we meet at a point of inflection in our movement, a moment when forces of change are converging. By point of inflection, I refer to a juncture at which a trajectory may sharply change direction, where it can either ascend like eagles into new heights of purpose and influence, or drift towards stagnation and irrelevance. We must decide which path we will take. I believe that being here obviously says we're going to take the path of soaring like eagles. The currents of technology, regulatory change, and climate stress, and member expectations and their demands will cause us to act boldly and wisely. Let us use this summit not just as an opportunity to share ideas, but to forge new operating paradigms, renew collaboration, and deepen our impact across our communities. In closing, I know there are only 3 of us here, so we don't have certainly the large delegation, but we never despise small beginnings, and we certainly are punching above our weight. So for sure. So let me thank the organizers. Let me thank the OECS Summit for certainly having this August body and great conference. And I'm wishing that this summit will be a turning point in our journey. As I spoke to the point of inflection, let us soar from this point forward. Thank you.
Good morning. Please allow me to adopt the protocol that was already established. I could to the right.
So I am Colin Sam, and I am representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines, an archipelago of 32 islands and keys, known for 9 mornings, etc. So open invitation for all. We don't have 365 rivers and 365 beaches, but you're welcome to come at any point in time. Good. So I am honored to be here in St. Kitts and Nevis, a country known for its rich heritage and warm hospitality. I'm going to just raise the phone a little bit more and remove the glasses. As we convene for this 18th annual OECS Credit Union Summit, our theme this year, One Vision, One Future, OECS Credit Unions Growing Together, speaks of the unity and shared purpose that are essential for continued growth of our sector. This summit comes at a very meaningful time as the international cooperative community celebrates 2025 as the International Year of Cooperatives. This global observance invites us to reaffirm our identity as people-focused institutions rooted in values driven by mission and committed to creating opportunity and equity across generations. Credit unions have long proven their resilience, adapting to economic shifts, regulatory changes, emerging technologies, and climate-related threats. We have survived and grown stronger because of our collective will to work together to uplift communities and to remain true to our core principles. As credit unions across the OECS now serve nearly 3/4 of our population, our responsibility to innovate, to remain inclusive, and to lead with vision has never been greater. This summit is a space for reflection, dialogue, and collaboration. It is an opportunity to confront shared challenges and identify solutions that will empower us to serve our members more effectively. I encourage us, each of us, all of us, to fully engage in the discussions ahead, to share boldly and to work in the spirit of cooperation. Let us recommit to the cooperative values of solidarity, equity, democracy, and shared prosperity. I extend sincere thanks to our host, St. Kitts and Nevis, for their gracious welcome, and may this 18th annual summit be both productive and transformative for our movement. Thank you very much.
There is an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. As the OECS, we are going together because we want to go far. Thank you so very much, colleagues. We are going to change the mood a little bit. We are going to welcome the Blue Mountain Drummers to entertain us. Now, Spirit Drum is an Afro-Caribbean drumming group that takes pride in showcasing cultural heritage while highlighting traditional rhythms. Through their performances, they aim not only to entertain, but also to educate, leaving a lasting impression on every audience they encounter. Ladies and gentlemen, let us make welcome the Spirit Drummers. Hello. Sir, we truly understand that great things come in small portions. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite to the podium Ms. J.D. Keynes, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Ms. Keynes, please.
Timothy N.J. Antoine, a national of Grenada, assumed duties as the third governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank on 1st February 2016. Antoine is an economist and development practitioner by training, experience, and passion. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in economics with management from the University of the West Indies and a Master of Science degree in social policy and planning in developing countries from the London School of Economics. Before assuming the office of governor, Antoine had a 22-year distinguished career with the government of Grenada. Much of that time, 14 years to be precise, he served as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. He is the recipient of the Order of Grenada Gold Award for Excellence. He has also been conferred with an honorary doctorate in humane letters by the St. George's University for services to Grenada and St. George's University. Antoine has contributed to the development of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union and wider Caribbean by serving on several regional and international boards and committees, including Chairman of the ECCU Technical Core Committee on Insurance, Chairman of the Governance Reform Committee, Board of Directors, Caribbean Development Bank, Director of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Director of Small Countries Financial Management Center, the Isle of Man, and Director of the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility. From November 2005 to November 2007, Antoine served as an advisor to the Executive Director for Canada, Ireland, and the Caribbean in the World Bank Group and was based in Washington, D.C. At present, he is the chairman of the Eastern Caribbean Home Mortgage Bank and the chairman of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to speak to us today, giving the keynote address, Mr. Timothy Antoine, Governor of the ECCB. His presentation on thought leadership, navigating the economic and financial landscape of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, our credit union's position for strategic expansion. He'll explain. Governor Antoine.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. And thank you very much for that kind introduction, Ms. Keynes. I do want to stand on the protocol established, but permit me to recognize the distinguished Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dame Marcella Liebert, and the Minister of Cooperatives et al. The Honorable Samuel Duggins. There's a reason why why the Minister of Agriculture, they give you a big basket. Yeah, plenty of food to carry. And of course, I want to recognize the leadership of the CCCU, as well as the leagues, fellow cooperators, and all those who are in the room this morning. So I am going to say to you how pleased I am to have this opportunity to again meet you. Many of you are very familiar faces, and I want to reaffirm my cooperator credentials by letting you know that I am a fellow cooperator. So anything I said to you, anything I said to you this morning must be received in the spirit of one cooperator to another. If you want to judge me, you're going to judge me as a fellow cooperator. Are we agreed on that? Because I'm going to speak some truth to power. So we have to agree on that. Let me also say that the ECCB is always pleased to have this opportunity to engage with you. During my tenure, we have made a point of, as your president indicated, a very engaged relationship, dialogue through the signing of that MOU with CCCU back in 2019. And the things we continue to do, a few of which I will highlight as I go along. As I've always said, the credit union movement is a force for good in our region. And the reality is that there can be no question about the powerful role that this movement has played in our region since the mid-20th century in terms of financial inclusion and economic empowerment. So you asked me to opine on the question, are credit unions strategically or positioned for strategic expansion? And my simple answer to that is yes. But the better question is, are you strategically well positioned? And my answer to that is not quite, not yet. And I say that to you this morning, not in criticism or condemnation, but an acknowledgement of what we must do together to ensure that you are well positioned for that strategic expansion that is so needed in our region. So I have a few slides I want to share with you. Okay, so this one is moving. All right, okay, let's go. The future happens no matter how much we scream. Do I need to stand here or can I move around? Cameraman, is that okay? Oh, you have a camera there, so I have to behave today. All right. My brother from Helen of the West, where are you? Well, this Tuesday we're counting there. I thought it was two of you that were coming up and present. When you give all of this two, I'm just teasing you. That quote comes from Nobel laureate St. Lucian Cedric Walcott. Cooperators, yes, the future screams. The future is happening no matter how much we scream. As we speak, we are convening this summit in the midst of a fracturing and restructuring of our global economy, where geopolitics, geoeconomics, fragmentation, trade wars are all in play. What do we do? Are we going to scream? We may, but it's happening. As we speak, AI is coming full force, ready or not. Are we going to scream? Or are we going to position ourselves to harness this powerful technology, bringing with it good and harm? And how do we figure out to get the most out of it? As we speak, regulatory changes are coming whether we like it or not. And they're not just coming from the central bank. Breaking news. They're coming from all over because credit unions, commercial banks, central banks are under the same influence of the global powers. We have to do what we must. In an environment where we are so dependent on the international system for our trade, including for our food. 80% of our food comes from overseas. In an environment where our banking system is built on a correspondent banking model, which means you cannot do banking internationally without a corresponding bank. What do? We can complain all we like, but we have to comply. Because the day we don't, business done. The future happens no matter how much we scream. As we speak, The climate is bearing down on us. And oh, it's getting hotter and hotter. The days when having AC in a house meant you were rich or you had that luxury, hello? Adaptation requires that whether you're rich, poor, black, white, you have to have AC that you can survive. What am I saying? The future happens no matter how much we scream. And for us at the ECCB, I say to our team every single day, they know it, they repeat it, because we believe it. Every day, you and I have a choice. We can either choose to curse the darkness or light a candle. What are you going to choose? Cooperators, what are we going to choose? What are we going to choose? I want to witness this morning, what are we going to choose? We absolutely will light candles. Because the truth is, if you look at our history, given all that we have gone through, we have only survived by the grace of God and by our ability to be resilient and to light candles in the darkest places, in the hardest places, understanding whose we are and who we are. And yes, I invoked my faith a while ago for those who missed it, but I'm a man of faith and I'm unashamed about that. Let's go. We live today in a world that I like to call a VUCA world. And I didn't come up with VUCA. All I've done is added an A to VUCA. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And I've added that extra A, anxiety. Because everywhere you go, rich or poor, large or small, big or small, there's anxiety. It's palpable. And again, what are we going to do in this environment? What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? And because we are into technology in a serious way, yes, the QR code is right there. Hint, hint, payment system, hint, hint. And you can avail yourself of this presentation by getting your phones or your devices out and scanning the QR code. All right, let me leave it one more time for those of you just pulling out the phone. Give you a chance to do that. And we'll have it circulated afterwards, so it will be available for those of you who don't have devices or you're having a challenge getting it. So let's go. Much has been said about this, and I have to make sure my numbers are correct, but I won't tarry on this. But the fact is clear. You have done amazingly well in terms of financial inclusion. But I will ask this morning, financial inclusion is more than an account. That's the first step. And you've done really, really well. In the currency union, 4 in 5 persons have a credit union account. That's 80%. That's a big number. Not even the banks can say that. Hello? Checking to see if you guys are still awake. But here's the thing. What is financial inclusion? Financial inclusion is access to financial services that include credit, payment, insurance, advice in an affordable and transparent manner. And so as you think about your membership, ask yourself, am I serving them in all of these 4 areas? Perhaps I've given them credits. Maybe I've given them access to payments. What about insurance? What about advice? Is it affordable? Is it transparent? So when we talk about positioning, I will argue that you are well positioned in terms of membership, but in terms of the offerings, not so much. And there's room to grow as we look at this strategic expansion. And that is where I want to get to in my short talk this morning. 1 in every 2 deposit-taking institutions in our currency union, 55% to be precise, are credit unions. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. You see, when we do this hard work, we have to cheer ourselves as we go along and take energy and take courage for the work ahead of us. So I don't like to beat up, as in beat up ourselves. We must take courage, take cognizance of what we've done, and take a new, fresh guard, as it were, for where we need to go next. So we have to acknowledge our gains, even as we look at our pains and where we need to go. Just spoke to that. So strategic expansion. Here are some questions that you probably are already reflecting on, but you ought to reflect on as you think about positioning for strategic expansion. What are your key opportunities as a credit union movement in the OECS? And I would say in the currency union. What are they? Very often we see the opportunities great, but what are the risks? You see, we financial services, that's the business we're in. You cannot talk about opportunities in financial services without talking about risks. They go hand in hand. They're two sides of the same coin, as it were. What are the key risks? How is the regulatory environment evolving? And I touched on that when I spoke about the AML-CFT with what we have to do for correspondent banks. But there are other standards that are coming down the pike. There's the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board that's coming. Those things we have to embrace them. The future happens no matter how much all right, there we go. So we have to ask ourselves the question, am I positioned compliance-wise to be able to meet the moment and fulfill my obligations to the regulator? In your country, because, of course, the ECCB does not regulate any credit union. It's regulated by national regulators in individual countries. What do current and prospective customers want? What do they need? And what do they want? You know what you want. You want to grow the business, grow deposits, grow assets, grow influence. All good. What do your customers want? What do they need? Jeff Bezos, formerly of Amazon, formerly the richest man in the world, always said this. He focused on one thing, not what his competitors did. He focused on the business of the customer. That is what drove him in terms of his invention, in terms of his innovation, in terms of the platform. What do the customers need? What do they want? If you fix that, you're in business. Of course, you then have to run it properly and efficiently. What can we learn from our competitors? And here I'm going to be very blunt. What can you learn from the banks about what to do and what not to do? I always tell people, when you think about learning and lessons, very often it's not always what to do, it's what not to do. I remember when I was trying to decide whether I'm going to do engineering or economics. Coming off of A-levels, I did both science and econ, so I was trying to kind of figure out which direction. I took a summer job with a road engineering company, and oh, I loved the countryside, and I enjoyed being out, and I discovered parts of Grenada that I had never known. And after 6 weeks, yes, I enjoyed it, but I was very clear. That is not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. All those hot sun, and by the way, we were not talking about climate change in those days. Could you imagine? No. That summer job clarified in my mind what I did not want to do. And I have great respect for my engineering friends, no problem with that. But what can we learn not to do from competitors like the commercial banks or fintechs is important. And then we must ask ourselves very honestly, where are we in terms of leadership and governance and internal capacity? So our boards, are we fit for purpose? Are we focused on the right things? Are we asking the right questions? There's some boards, they want to manage the business. That's not the job of a board. What's the job of a board? Nose in, fingers out. So you have to ask the right questions, so you have to pay attention, but you're not managing. You're paying management. And if you find yourself managing, then you need to change management. Or you need to change your attitude as a board member. I said truth to power this morning, so I'm going to give it to you direct. Are we asking the right questions? Are we asking about the report from the regulator in terms of remedial actions, and are we tracking those on a constant basis? Are we looking at the risk register to determine what has changed in the risk landscape? Are we discussing our risk appetite as a board and as management to determine what we can bear or not bear? Do we have the right people on the credit committees? Are we set up for success? Do we have the right talent inside of our credit unions? So that's why I said you are positioned. But when you ask well positioned for strategic expansion, in many cases the answer is no. And that ought not to be a disappointment. It ought to be an encouragement, a challenge for us to come together to get it done. In this environment of digital technology, transformation, innovation, one-man IT units is high risk. Who am I speaking to this morning? I spoke to no CEOs, I spoke to no IT staff members before this vote, but hello. We have 30 in the bank and they're telling me we short. By the way, the rule of thumb in IT, I digress, but the rule of thumb is it should be 10% of your staff complement. So if you have 50 staff, you should have 5 IT people. I know that might be a stretch for the smaller credit unions, but one person, that's key person risk. And you don't want to do that. Which takes me to a point I will make later. How do you mitigate when you have to manage those costs? And here's a question. I preempted myself. What will innovation and expansion cost? Because we want to do strategic expansion. We need to do it. But what will it cost? What will it cost in terms of capacity? What will it cost in terms of capital? What will it cost in terms of collaboration? We have to count the cost. We have to count the cost. I don't think anything I'm saying here is new to you, but I'm challenging us to reflect this week and to think about how we're going to collaborate to meet the moment, to be not just positioned, well positioned for strategic expansion. So my 3 key messages, every time I do a talk, I usually have a couple key messages, and I basically say to you, if you remember nothing else, remember this. Here's the first. Strategic expansion necessitates a deep understanding of both opportunities and risk facing the credit union movement. You have to see both. Second, enhanced governance and effective risk management are critical to better position the movement for strategic expansion. And third, strategic expansion of the movement at scale and speed demands collaboration and collective action. There's nowhere else. One of the costs that we should learn from our competitors, your competitors, our competitors, I'm speaking as a cooperator now, from the banks, is trying to do it alone. Hero ball, it'll kill you. That's a strategic error. It will cost you and it will kill you. You cannot make these adjustments and these innovations at a credit union, single credit union. As we would say, joke you're making. Crap or smoke your pipe. Make it make sense. Make that make sense. So based on that, Sakitan Palelot. That's a job that makes you still away. Let's go. All right, so I covered that. Let me move on. I spoke about the global economy. So I'm now want to speak about opportunities. I'm going to talk about opportunities, risk, and then I'm going to talk about collaboration. And I'll try to sit after that. Very quickly. The big vision for our currency union is the big push. Some of you have heard me on this for the last 2 years. What is the big push? It is a doubling the size of our economies over the next decade. At this moment, GDP in nominal terms is around 24 billion EC dollars. We want to get to 48 billion over the decade. I make the point, fellow cooperators, this is not simply about economics. I'm an economist, so I'm using the tool of GDP to open the conversation. But everybody knows that quality of life and development cannot be simply about GDP. Because you're not considering the social dimension, and we must consider the social dimension. This is a conversation starter. But how do we expand the economic pie to enlarge opportunities for everyone? How do we make sure that our people not only strive, but thrive? How do we make sure that we move from underemployment to full employment? How do we make sure that we are able to realize our God-given potential? Those are the things I'm thinking about when I speak about the big push. The number is simply the conversation starter. But let's face it, you will not be able to expand seriously if we don't grow these economies. As we speak, the global economy is growing around 3.2%. The ECC is growing around 3.5%, 3.6% this year. Next year, similar levels. But we've seen some risks, which means that global economy could slow, especially what you see in the US, where the US economy has been slowing down. We see what happens. The Fed has started cutting rates. We have to see what happens, how the tariffs settle. But the US economy, you've seen the job numbers the unemployment starting to go up. So we have to watch that because that has implications for us. There's a lag. We see it in tourism, we see it in remittances, we see it in trade, there are a number of areas. So at the moment, 3%. But I've made it clear, if you want to double the size of these economies over the next decade, we need to grow by 7% per annum for 10 years. If we do that, the compounding effect gives us a doubling. 7% per annum. Now the challenge, that's easier said than done because you have the shocks, natural disasters, trade shocks, just as we had now, food shock, inflation shocks, the Prime Minister just spoke about earlier. COVID, the shocks keep coming. And so we have to find a way, as we think about big push, not just to expand the economies, but also to build resilience. And what does resilience mean? I repeat it again and again. In my mind, resilience is the capacity to absorb and withstand shocks and bounce forward. Not back, forward. Are you following me? Why? Because every crisis, every adversity must compel us and propel us to leverage it to be better than before the shock. So if I broke that down to food and nutrition security, after what we went through with the COVID pandemic, when we were genuinely worried about ships not coming to bring our food, 80% of our food is imported. So when you talk about inflation in the currency union, you cannot escape the fact that we are importing most of our inflation. And if you want to handle our own business, and we want to begin to bend the curve with respect to inflation, we have to produce more of our food, and we have to do so in an affordable way. And by the way, we know that 8 in 10 deaths in our currency union, in fact, the wider Caribbean, are NCDs, obesity, diabetes, cancer, stroke, which has implications for the same big push, because many of our people in their prime are being incapacitated, and in some cases amputated, leading to incapacitation because of diabetes, for example, or cancer. Just lost a colleague a few weeks ago. Cancer. That's hard. So what are we going to do? So the idea of resilience bouncing forward is that we must leverage this moment to position us to be better. As we speak, we are importing from a small number of countries, and the costs structurally are very high. The Caribbean Private Sector Organization has just done a study showing that if we diversified some of where we import food from, the OECS can save around $261 million. This is US dollars. That would mean that looking at new markets like South Africa and Turkey and Mexico and Malaysia and so on. So once you start to have that conversation, then you have to talk about shipping, where you're going to get to there. And of course, you have to insist at quality. But I make the point this morning, we have to leverage this. We can't keep complaining about how hot the sun is and still turn around and use diesel and different fossil fuels for our energy and pay 30 or 40 US cents per kilowatt hour. That's why if you drive into the central bank or drive by the central bank, you will see our 1 megawatt solar farm, an investment that is now saving us almost $2 million every year, making us the first central bank, I'm told, in the world to be completely carbon neutral or thereabouts. So we small, but we Yeah, so in Anguilla, in thing, you would say mighty. In St. Kitts, they say Talawa. So in St. Kitts, so we say in Talawa now. We small, but we? And we've used that not just to save money, which of course is important, but to manifest our capacity to take responsibility for our situation. We know we can't change the outcome of the climate with our simple project or simple investment. Not even all of our countries could do that. But to shame the large emitters into saying, if we, a small country, small central bank, in these small countries could do that, shame on you. You need to do better. You need to take your responsibility seriously on the climate, under the Paris Agreement. You need to invest in renewables and help us to invest in renewables. And we know we cannot transform this region without transforming our energy situation. That is why, for example, we established ECCB, the Renewable Energy Infrastructure Facility. By the way, only last week we won an award for that. We don't set out to win awards, but the world has recognized what we do, and we won 10 awards in the last 8 years. Global awards, you should give your central bank a round of applause for that. Sometimes we don't appreciate what we do. A prophet has no honor in his own country. Don't blame me, that's the scripture, remember? So we have to see what we're doing, embrace what we're doing, and help us to propel us to do other things. Give me examples. Let me move on. I don't want to stick, just give me a few examples. So what are the opportunities for the movement, for the big push? Here are a few examples, and I've been touching on them already. Wealth creation. I see global fund is out in the room, is outside. Unit Trust Global Balance Fund. So Omar and the team is over there. Great. Because here's the deal. You've done financial inclusion, but how do we move our people from savers to investors? In the United States, you've heard me say that, but I'm going to repeat it until we change the situation. And I'm not just complaining, I'm not just cussing darkness with light in a candle. In the United States, 3 in 5 persons are invested in the stock market where they generate income and wealth. In the currency union, it is 4%. And our challenge as part of the big push is to get to at least 10%, from 1 in 25, 4%, to 1 in 5, 20% over the next decade. That will be a serious effort and requires a serious effort. But I'm saying, if they can understand the power of the financial markets to generate income and wealth, why can't we? If you talk to your cousin or nephew or aunt or whatever in the United States or the UK, where they have 401ks, they will tell you that's what they do. Why can't we? What's stopping us? Well, I see the CEO of the Eastern Caribbean Security Regulatory Commission, Mrs. Alusha Faisal, is here. I want to thank her for her work. We now have 3 collective investment schemes, including 2 mutual funds in our region. So we're not just talking about it, we're actually supporting products that will help us to move. Next month, Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis will launch a retail bond. I spoke to you, some of you were in Grenada in November last year when I addressed you at that Wealth Creation Summit. And I said to you, we had gone to our governments, our heads, and said, we want to reduce the threshold for access to the market from $5,000 to $500. We have done that. We have done that. Next month, end of October, both St. Kitts and Nevis and Grenada will launch retail bonds. That's the plan. That's what they're working towards. And we are supporting them all the way. Minimum 500. So we dropped it. And we've also made it clear, don't harass the people to invest the money. We want an ease of investing approach for these lower amounts. So don't go and stand in the way now and stand on ceremony and asking people their whole life story before they could invest. Let me move on. I'm not going to touch shipping and logistics because I'm going to be here all morning and I want to respect your schedule. Let's move on. Here are some risks. And you know them: credit, climate, cyber, governance. There are others, capacity. There are a range of issues there, right? All of these risks that we have to we have to treat with as we look to embrace the opportunities that I just mentioned. And because you know these risks, I'm not going to go into them and I'm not going to do a deep dive, but I always remind you, climate risk is financial risk. The fact of the matter is, many of your investments as credit unions, our investments as individuals are on the coast, or near the coast, 90%. So you can't ignore the conversation about climate. Because we know in this region, we are on the front lines of climate change. We've seen it happen before our very eyes. So we have to have a response to that risk, because ready or not, the climate is getting hotter and hotter, and the risk is getting stronger and stronger. Credit risk, even as we look to expand, we have to recognize where we are with non-performing loans. I tell people all the time, part of the problem with these banks and the high costs and these fees and charges, which of course we know taking legislation through our parliaments to begin to address or attempt to regulate, is partly because of high NPLs, non-performing loans in our region. I'm not making an excuse, but I'm saying this is what is triggering some of that. So to protect their bottom line, because they're getting less interest income from loans because of so many bad loans, there are about 1.5 billion bad loans in the system as we speak. NPLs are in the banking system is around 9.5%. Credit union is lower. Very good. But we have to make sure we're comparing like with like. We have to make sure the provisioning makes sense. We have to make sure we're not evergreening loans. Hello. Truth to power. So the number could look good, but the reality is that it's not. Who are we fooling? And I'm not suggesting anybody's doing that, but I'm saying we have to make sure, because we have to do that in the banks as well. We have to make sure. So we have to do the same. Because I asked you this morning, cooperators, are you facing the same credit risk as banks? Well, hello. Are you lending in a different planet or a different universe? You're in the same economy. You're facing the same people. Yes, credit risk is a real issue for both credit unions and banks. Are you facing the same cyber risk? Absolutely. Are you facing the same climate risk? Are you facing the same compliance risk? So as special as you are, and believe me, I know you're special, don't get so drunk in self that you ignore the fact that you are facing some real risks which require a certain risk management approach. And I'm not trying to say everything the banks do, the credit unions have to do. What I am saying is that you cannot ignore those risks and pretend that because you are unique, which you are, those risks will avoid you. That's not true. You're going to see them manifest more and more. Because here's what. You are operating in an environment with rising customer expectations. And whether you like it or not, your customers want you to give the same or better service than the banks. There's one credit union, which shall remain nameless, which says, we are not a bank. We are better than a... Ooh, I wonder who that might be. By the way, every time I hear that, I have to laugh. It tickles me no end. But you put yourself out there, you represent yourself, you have a very important and value proposition. So I'm saying to protect that, you have to take steps. And here's something where you can definitely beat the banks, because the banks have to do better. And I've called them out, and I will continue to do that. It's on customer service. I've called them out, and I will continue to do that. And I work with the banks very closely. I mean, there's no, we work together. We have mutual respect. They understand we're the regulators. I understand they're running the business. But I made it very clear. They have to do better with respect to customer service. You definitely can. People want better service in this region. And you have to deliver that. They have to deliver that. So, yeah, those risks. Let me move on as I look to wind down. Covered NPLs, covered climate. Right. Let's move on. So I'm wondering, my last segment is to talk about invitation, collaboration, and collective action, some of which I've begun to touch on. So one of the issues you know, and I know, because every one of us has a bank account, at least one, is the ease of opening bank accounts. How difficult it is. We've taken the step with what we call the first step to make it easier to open bank accounts in the region. Is that a good thing? Oh, Lord, y'all didn't sound convincing. And the reason why you're all in some convincing, because some of you seem to be caught up in a conspiracy theory that is to compete with credit unions. No, that's not true. You and I are members of these banks, and we are fed up with some of this extra burdensome, onerous requirements to open a bank account. As far as we're concerned, that's a fundamental requirement. It's almost like a human right. People have to be able to open an account. What we've done in the law, and that law has now been passed in St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, I think Grenada is next. Everybody's going to pass it, hopefully before the end of this year, is to say, as a matter of law, you have to open that account, and you shall not close except for cause. What is cause? Money laundering, predicate offenses, and so on. And that account will have no minimum balances. Because not so long ago, a bank which shall remain nameless told us, if you don't have a certain amount, you have to close the account. An affront to our civilization and our sensibility. You have no idea how much that annoyed us. But again, what are we going to do? Curse darkness or light a candle? So we said, we're going to go and change the law. Of course, we need the parliaments to do that, but we made a recommendation, we drafted it, and it's going through our parliaments. That account is also going to be interest-bearing. Interest-bearing. The banks were not pleased about that one at all, I could tell you that. But I made it very clear. Poor people are people too. They have to be able to invest. The time value of money is a real thing. And whether it's $5, $500, or $5,000, you have to get interest on that account. So the ease of opening bank account is to make it easier for all of us. But the same principles that we are using there, I hope we can use for the credit union movement. So this is not exclusive. It starts with the banks, but my expectation would be that we'll work with our regulators to ensure that we have a similar approach to how people access bank accounts in our credit union movement. I'm committed to working with you on that. The ACH, 4 credit unions are going to go through the pilot. I'm not going to name them, but you know them. We're happy to finally, it's been a long discussion, Dennis, but we get in there, where we start with 4, and then we hope to expand. On the credit bureau side, 4 of you. So 5, as of now, I'm told, this morning I checked while I was sitting there, I asked for the latest information. 28 of 47 credit unions have signed subscriber agreements for the credit bureau. Of that, 4 credit unions have actually signed up. I want to make sure I don't miss the names. So I'm going to check this to tell you precisely what they told me as the latest. The first was SKCCU's, St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union. The next was Police, St. Kitts. Then Ariza, Grenada. And Kingston Credit Union, St. Vincent and Grenadines. That's the 4 I have so far. So St. Lucia, if you're there, make sure you click the email and make sure they receive it, because that's what I have right up this morning. I checked while I was sitting there. I want to congratulate the 4 credit unions who have stepped forward to join the credit bureau. The credit bureau is now live in Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and Grenadines, I believe. And we hope to go to St. Lucia in October, and then everybody else, again, hopefully by the end of the year. Why is credit bureau important? I know you have a panel on that, so I won't stay long. It is to deal with the opportunity of expanding credit, but it is also to deal with the risk of credit risk management. You see the tool? The tool is to enable you to expand credit. Everywhere in the world a credit bureau has been established, credit has increased. We are not going to have the big push realize, the doubling that we seek, without credit expansion. But we have to do so responsibly. Risk management, that is where the credit bureau comes in. It's a very important tool. Partial credit guarantee, we launched that 5 years ago, in the middle of the pandemic. At this moment, we have done 268 guarantees, loan guarantee value of 20 million, loan value of 26 million. And there are 4 credit unions that are in the partial credit guarantee program as we speak. Ariza, Grenada, Communal, Grenada, Teachers, St. Vincent and Grenadines, and St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union. Four or 47. So I ask you fellow cooperators, what are you waiting on? This was designed to support SMEs, small businesses, to help support job creation, to address the issue where we have excess liquidity in the banking system. People are complaining that they can't get a loan. That's what it was. This is for fisher folk, Mr. Minister. This is for creatives. And a few creatives have benefited from this, that I know. I won't call countries, but I know that because I asked, that's what the design was, so I asked specific questions. This is for women in business. This is for small. We've made it available. And yes, some of you initially said, well, you know, it was a little onerous, some simplified it. There's working capital, there's startup capital, there's the automatic guarantee. The fee has dropped. All of those things based on feedback to make it easier for you to implement this. The credit union has been the central bank, we've been very clear, this cannot be only for banks. Or credit unions must access it, or development banks must access it. So I'm saying to you, avail yourself because you want to protect your balance sheet, keep your non-performing loans relatively low, but at the same time you want to expand credit. And to those who are underserved, which is the mantra, the pathos, the ethos of the credit union movement. You are there for those who cannot be helped. The underserved, the unserved, the overlooked, the forsaken. That's what you started on. Those are your values. You should be the biggest users of this partial credit guarantee program because it aligns with your values and your mission and your vision for financial inclusion and empowerment. Deposit insurance. We are going to launch a deposit insurance very soon. The legislation is already going through our governments, our parliaments. Some governments, at least two, have already passed it. And I have been very clear that I'd want to see the credit union benefit from deposit insurance as well. If you are interested, are you interested? Well, that didn't sound very convincing. But as usual, we'll work with a coalition of the willing. But here's the deal, and I've been very clear on that, very transparent. We have to make sure that we have certain regulatory standards, coordination that allows us. The central bank is not going to regulate credit unions. Okay, we settle that issue. But we're going to have the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board, where you will sit on, the credit unions will sit on, the bank, the ECCB will sit on, the ECRC, the security regulator will sit on, and together we are going to make sure that we are seeing the entire financial system. You will have to be part of that to be able to access deposit insurance. Upfront, no games, no, straight up, I'm telling you this. You want deposit insurance? You will have to come under the financial, which is not the central bank, because the central bank is a member of, not the boss. We're not in charge. Because we are a financial institution, you know, a part of a financial institution. I spoke to mutual funds, shared services, just to say that as I wind up. Many banks have tried to go it alone, and it's costing them. And when you invest in these legacy systems, your core banking system or your core credit union system, these are fairly long-term investments. They are expensive, and by necessity, they have to be amortized over a period of time. That decision is a very important strategic decision. But even more important is the decision to go it together, not alone. Shared services is the absence of shared services is a mistake many of our banks have made that you ought not to make. You need to make sure that you come together for shared services like your IT platforms. I would argue like internal audit and certain compliance services, because you're not competing on that. You're going to compete on customer service and other products, not on those core risk management tools. You are better off as a movement putting your heads together and sharing those. Why is it that the biggest banks in Canada, the big six or big four, have a shared services for some of these things? Scotia, Royal Bank of Canada, TD, Toronto Dominion, CIBC. They have shared services for certain things, big as they are. What makes us think that indigenous banks or credit unions could do it on our own? That's hero ball where we're going to make costly strategic blunders that are going to cost us for a long time. They're going to weigh us down. Don't repeat that mistake. And I conclude now, I think. You'll be pleased to know. I don't want indigestion, so I'm going to stop. When someone has been given much, much will be required in return. And when someone has been entrusted with much, even more will be required. The point is simple. You have been entrusted with significant deposits. You heard the numbers earlier. With trust by your members, by us. And now we are counting on you for strategic expansion to support your vision, to support the big push. But we have to understand, to whom much is given, much is required. It's a weighty responsibility, but it must not weigh us down. It must cause us to join our hands together in common cause and step forward as one. This leads me to my final slide. It's an anthem which I repeat all the time, predicated on our history of enslavement and colonialism, among other things. As a region, we cannot change our history, and we cannot change our geography, but we can accelerate and elevate our development trajectory through innovation and collective action. And that's what we must do as we position credit unions and this movement for strategic expansion. God bless you. I thank you.
Thank you so very much, Governor Antoine. The maestro thing comes back to mind, because we are hitting all the right notes. By way of vote of thanks, I'd like to give thanks to Almighty God, who has, by His grace, allowed us to be here this morning, who has, by His grace, given safe travel mercies to those who are visiting from overseas, and who, by His grace and His continued favor, will take us through this week. We want to thank Tariq for helping us this morning by offering the opening prayer. We want to thank Her Excellency, the Governor General, for being here with us this morning. You don't know how glad I feel. Oh, the Governor General is a credit union member, just in case. And so we are so grateful, Your Excellency, for your being here. It has indeed warmed our hearts and make our spirits glad. We are thanking you not only for your presence here with us this morning, but also for your agreeing to host our welcome ceremony this evening. And we are certainly looking forward to being with you as you open your home, your residence to us, to have this ceremony, this cocktail. Thank you so very much. We want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew. Again, it was said that he could have said, I'm busy. But no, he made the time to address us this morning. And we wish to applaud his commitment, not only to the credit union, but also to the federation that he leads and to regional integration. Governor Antoine, It's always a pleasure listening to you, sir. Because not only in your secular work, but also as you sometimes deliver the word from Almighty, you do so with passion. And it is that passion that we wanted, because we wanted you to sound for us as credit unions a clarion call. We wanted you to sound for us a call for us to recognize our collective responsibilities. And I think, sir, that you have done that this morning. Thank you so very, 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 very much. Close to the end of your slides, you had a slide up, invitation for collaboration and collective action. And there you outlined the ease of opening bank account. We are going to discuss that in our last session on Friday. ACH access, credit bureau, partial guarantee scheme, deposit insurance. We are going to discuss those tomorrow. Mutual fund. We are going to hear about those this afternoon. And the shared digital services, the shared services to digital transformation, we will hear about those tomorrow. And so I think that the summit is poised to reach to that level that the governor did mention this morning. For President Messam, we want to thank you so very much, ma'am, for not only for your presentation to us this morning, but for your comment. We really do appreciate it, and to let you know that your remarks to us this morning were well received. Thank you so very much. CEO Goindo, when we spoke last year about the title sponsorship, Andre readily agreed. Yes, I am in. Thank you so very much, sir, for holding fast to that commitment. And we appreciate you, your team, and for your being here with us this morning. To our president, Mr. Lawrence, thank you so very much, sir, for your remarks and for welcoming our delegates to this 18th hosting of the OECS Credit Union Summit. To Mrs. Brown, who so ably, with your trumpet, sounded the national anthem. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I spoke to her this morning, she said, don't worry, sir, I'll be there. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you, and I think the summit appreciates you. Thank you so very much. Colleagues, we have a good time ahead of us. Remember the dress code for this evening. As I said it, Her Excellency nodded. I tell you, security gonna be rough. You know, allow me to ask. There's a passage in Matthew that speaks about the wedding clothes. And only those who had on the proper clothing could enter. But let me say it now. Only those who have on the proper clothing will be able to enter this evening. But it's all in jest, but a serious, eh? Listen, I'm not going to take up your time. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, and so I'm really not going to take up any more of your time. At this time, then, I'd like to invite us all to stand for the departure of Her Excellency. And I think I negated to thank the Honorable the Honorable Doggins for being here with us and for his presence. Thank you so very much. Her Excellency will be followed by the Honorable Doggins. who will be followed by Governor Antoine. And I think everybody else, you are to be here. So, thank you very much. You may be seated. All right.